All right, I'm admitting everyone, and then we're going to get started.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today at our second plastic bag ban information session. If you joined us last month, we're happy to have you here, but you will be hearing the same information. My name is Karen Fegley. I'm a Deputy Commerce Director for the City of Philadelphia. I want to cover some housekeeping items about this session. This event is being recorded and streamed on Facebook Live. If you would not like to be recorded, please turn your camera off for the duration of the program. We ask all participants to please mute yourself, and you will remain muted throughout the program. For our attendees, if you have any questions during the presentation, please put them in the chat, and we are going to take time at the end to answer those questions during that segment at the end of the program. If any press are on the line, you're welcome to stay and cover. We appreciate that. But if you have any questions, you should send them to press@phila.gov as usual. Okay, so again, welcome from the Philadelphia Commerce Department. At Commerce, we are focused on making Philadelphia a city where companies choose to start, stay, and grow. Our vision is for all Philadelphia neighborhoods to be filled with diverse, profitable, and sustainable businesses with significant local ownership. And we know that in order to do that, our city must be safe, clean, and business friendly. A huge service that we offer is our Office of Business Services. Our business services team staffs a hotline and email to take your questions at any time. We update info on our website, help businesses to navigate all of the resources and the regulations that come with doing business in the city, especially over the past year when it's been so important to reopen with care and operate safely. So we're going to drop that contact information for the Office of Business Services in the chat so that you can follow up with us anytime. So these sessions are one of the ways that we educate business owners. Our Office of Business Services will be hosting 3 of these information sessions. That's what we have planned so far. So we did one last month, and then we will repeat this again in June. And we are posting online in multiple languages so that when we're done here, please spread the word to other business owners to join the next time. So for an overview of today's session, today we are going to hear from Councilmember Mark Squilla, and then Haley Jordan will take us through a presentation explaining the plastic bag ban law, what is allowed, important dates, advertising resources. Sarah Adamo will explain the enforcement plan, and then we'll take your questions. I do want to point out that this ban has been delayed from its original start date of July 2020. Last spring, with businesses focusing on COVID and safe operations and survival, we delayed the ban until July 2021. Now, while we recognize we're still dealing with many challenges from the pandemic, it is time to start looking toward the future. And that future is going to be free of plastic bags. So let's get going. I'm pleased to introduce Councilmember Mark Squilla, representing the 1st Council District since 2011. Councilman Squilla is the chair of Council's Commerce and Economic Development Committee and the vice chair of committees including Public Property, Streets and Services. Mark Squilla came into Council with experience organizing communities and cleanups, and he regularly brings people together to find solutions that move Philadelphia forward. The plastic bag ban was spearheaded by Councilman Mark Squilla. So without further ado, Councilman.
Thank you, Karen, and I appreciate that. And I do want to also thank both Commerce and L&I for all your help and guidance on this process. We as a city know that, sometimes we introduce legislation and it's not known what the outcomes will be and what is the rules and laws. So I think what we're doing today is something that we can really do into the future and show how we partner with our business community and work with them to educate them and share with them what our laws are. And it's important to understand as the plastic bag ban goes into effect. And yes, I'm glad you said it was delayed during COVID, but now, seeing that we're opening up June 11th full scale and that people will be out and about, I think it's really important to understand how this law and regulations will affect our business community. So knowing that this took a long time to come into fruition as far as the plastic bag ban, how it affects our businesses and how it affects our shoppers and our community. It's so important. And what the idea is that, bring your own bag with you when you shop is something we're really trying to encourage. So we need to not only work with the businesses, but then also look to educate our residents here in the city of Philadelphia and the people who visit. So thank you for being here. Hopefully you get a lot out of this information session. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out not only to Commerce or L&I, but also my office, and we could assist in any way possible. So thank you very much, and hopefully you enjoy this session.
All right, thank you. So let's get into the details. I'd like to introduce Haley Jordan of the Office of Sustainability. She'll take us through the implementation of the law.
Thanks so much, Karen. Can everybody see this? Good to go?
Yep, good.
Great. I first just want to say thanks so much to Councilmember Scuola for your leadership on this important issue, and thanks to the Commerce Department for holding these business information sessions. And also thank you to everyone in attendance today for joining us this morning to learn a little bit more about the city's plastic bag ban. As Karen said, I'm going to walk through a brief presentation to provide some details about the plastic bag ban, some insight on why the city is banning plastic bags to begin with, and then go over some resources that we have available to help businesses comply with the ban. So to start, why is Philadelphia banning plastic bags? And one of the main and most important reasons is to reduce litter. Philadelphians use about 1 billion plastic bags annually, and when those bags aren't discarded in the right way, they end up littering our streets, our commercial corridors, eventually getting out to waterways, getting tangled in our trees, and just really posing a really big environmental challenge. And these photos on the slide were taken on Philadelphia streets, taken throughout the city, and this is certainly a common sight on our city streets. Plastic bags are one of the most littered items in Philadelphia. They make up about 17% of all of the waste that our water department skims out of local waterways. And when they end up in waterways, they pose issues for fish and other local wildlife. So certainly a big environmental issue. And beyond that, rates of litter in Philadelphia are much higher in our city's low-income communities and communities of color. So we certainly see litter and plastic bag litter as an environmental justice issue. So by passing this ban, we're really hoping to improve litter conditions and overall quality of life in our neighborhoods. Another motivation for implementing this plastic bag ban is to save money and keep staff safe. So litter is an incredibly expensive issue in Philadelphia, and the city actually spends about $48 million every year just on efforts to prevent and clean up litter. And plastic bags are also a particularly problematic item and material for recycling. They aren't recyclable in our city's curbside recycling program, but when they do end up in recycling bins, they can cause issues when they get to our recycling center. They get caught in machinery and sort of totally cause the recycling process to be shut down, which is dangerous for the staff working at the recycling center and cost the city money. And each year, plastic bags account for over 150 hours of lost staff time at our recycling facility at the cost of about $300,000. And this is a photo of what it looks like when plastic bags get caught in that machinery at the recycling center. And you can see how it would be difficult, time consuming, and dangerous to really get those bags untangled. And another motivation is that litter is bad for business. Plastic bags are a heavily littered item on our streets and on our commercial corridors and out in front of our businesses. And when the storefront of a business is littered, it looks less attractive to customers. Philadelphia businesses also spend an estimated $20 million a year just on purchasing plastic bags. So it certainly is a large cost for businesses as well. And in passing this bag and moving to implement it, we are joining a lot of our neighbors in the region. Delaware just began implementing its statewide plastic bag ban at the beginning of the year. New York has a statewide plastic bag ban in place, and New Jersey passed its ban that is going to start being implemented in the spring of 2022. And theirs is a particularly strict policy that limits not just plastic bags, but also other single-use plastic packaging materials like plastic straws and styrofoam, polystyrene containers. So in passing and implementing this ban, Philadelphia is certainly joining on with its neighbors in this regional groundswell to really try to tackle the single-use plastics litter issue. And reusable bags are really the best choice. No bag option is without impact. So reducing waste really means cutting down on the use of paper bags as well. And we're urging all retailers to encourage their customers to shop with reusable bags and to use up their existing plastic bag stock as soon as possible. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in a moment, but in the outreach that we're doing to residents, we're also certainly focusing a lot on encouraging folks to bring their own reusable bags with them when they shop. And on this slide, we have some important dates for the ban that we want to make sure that you are all aware of. So on July 1st of this year, implementation of the ban begins, and businesses don't need to do anything for that date for July 1st. That's just the date that affects when other things happen in the rest of the timeline. But the first date that I really want to make sure you all make note of is that on July 31st of this year, retail establishments are required to post signage at points of sale, informing customers that the ban is coming with information about what types of purchases and what types of bags are affected. And we have put together some signage for businesses to use for this purpose. So I'll talk a little bit more about how you can access that in a moment. October 1st is really when the bag ban begins. But after that, from October 1st until April 1st of next year of 2022 is a 6-month education and warning period. So that'll be a period where the city's doing a lot of education and outreach to businesses and also to residents. And the city will only be issuing warnings for failure to use compliant bags, but not fines during this warning period that's meant to provide sort of a buffer to give businesses time to get into compliance. And then at the end of that warning period on April 1st of 2022, the city will start to fully enforce the ban. So what types of bags are actually banned under the city's plastic bag ban? So the legislation prohibits retail establishments from providing for carryout or delivery. So both carryout and delivery are impacted, all single-use plastic bags. So this includes bags created through a blown film extrusion process, or those that are less than 2.25 mils thick. So there's a lot of technical language here about the thickness of plastic bags and the process through which they're created, but a mil is just a unit of measurement for very, very thin materials, and 1 mil is 1/1000th of an inch, and a lot of the thinnest single-use plastic bags are about 0.5 mils. And that to define that blown film extrusion process for you, that is the primary way that all plastic bags that use plastic film are created, regardless of the thickness of the plastic. So the legislation bans all bags we commonly refer to as single-use plastic bags that are made from a single sheet of plastic, no matter how thick they are. And then also banned under the legislation are bags with those same specifications that are made from PLA or polylactic acid, which is a bioplastic, or other types of bioplastics. So these are bags that look and function very similar to regular single-use plastic bags, but are just made from bio-based materials. And then also paper bags that don't meet certain criteria that are set in the legislation that I'll get into in a moment. And what types of bags can businesses provide? So reusable bags, those are bags made of nylon, cotton, cloth, polyester, or another material that is specifically designed and manufactured for multiple reuses, or reusable plastic bags that aren't created through blown film extrusion and are greater than 2.25 mils thick. So those are bags that aren't created through that standard blown film extrusion process, that are thicker, could be made from woven plastic, and can be sanitized and reused over and over. and then paper bags that do meet those specific requirements set in the legislation. And those requirements for compliant paper bags are they must contain at least 40% post-consumer recycled content, contain no old growth fiber, and there are some labeling requirements for the bags as well. So they must display the word recyclable or recycled content in a highly visible manner and be labeled with the name of the manufacturer of the bag and the percentage of post-consumer recycled content of the bag in an easy to read font size on the bag. And then what types of businesses are affected by the ban? So businesses of all sizes are impacted that provide items for carryout or for delivery. And also indoor and outdoor businesses must comply with the ban. And along the bottom of the slide here, there are a list of types of businesses that the ban applies to. So everything from supermarkets to convenience stores, shops, service stations, department stores, clothing stores, restaurants, food trucks, farmers markets, and delivery services. And there are a few exemptions to the ban that we want to make sure that you all are aware of. So dry cleaner bags are exempt from the ban. Also packaged garbage bags, pet waste bags, and yard waste bags. And then also bags that are used inside a retail establishment by a customer to deliver items to the point of sale. So these are bags used to package things like bulk items, meat, fish, prepared foods, bakery goods, flowers, potted plants, or other similar items to transport those items to the point of sale. And a couple of other important details that we wanted to share with you and make sure that you are all aware of is that businesses can decide whether to provide compliant bags for free or at a cost, and that is at the discretion of the merchant. And we are asking businesses to use up all of their existing single-use plastic bag and non-compliant paper bag stock by October 1st of this year when the bag begins. But again, after that will be that 6-month warning and education period before the ban is fully enforced. And then wanted to share some resources with you all that we have available. The first is the point of sale sign. Mentioned earlier that businesses starting July 31st are required to hang signage at points of sale. So we have created a sign for businesses to use for this, and it's available on our website. You can go on there, download it, print out as many copies as you want and need, and it is available in 6 languages that are listed at the bottom of the slide here. So English, Spanish, French, Vietnamese, simplified Chinese, and Russian. And we are also adding a couple additional languages, Cambodian and Korean, and those should be added to the website as well by next week. And then some additional resources that we have available. We have created an FAQ flyer for businesses that's available on our website as well. It has all the details about the ban and answers to commonly asked questions, information about enforcement, etc. So again, you can go to our website and download that in the same languages that the sign is available in as well. And that URL to our webpage where all this information is available is phila.gov/plastic-bag-ban. And I will drop that into the chat to make sure that everyone has it. And another resource that is currently being created is a compliant bag vendors list. So this will be a list of vendors of bags that are compliant with the city's specifications. So reusable bags and paper bags that meet the city's requirements, and hope that this will be finalized soon. And once it is, we will add that resource to the webpage as well. So please look out for that. And just wanted to speak for a moment about some of our plans for doing outreach to residents and making sure that they're aware that the plastic bag ban is coming. So we are planning for a digital media campaign with a lot of our partners from different city departments and other nonprofit organizational partners from around the city. And we're going to be doing a big social media campaign with the hashtag BYOBagPHL, We are also going to be placing ads on Link PHO kiosks and digital bus shelters and in other public spaces to get the word out. Planning to hold some online events and other outreach opportunities that will sort of be like this, but just geared more for residents and the general public, to provide them with information about the ban and give them the opportunity to have some discussion about it. And again, really focusing on encouraging folks to bring their own reusable bags with them when they shop, and also to clean or disinfect those bags between uses. And we're going to be making some information available on our website as well about best practices for sanitization of reusable bags to make sure that folks are using them safely. And I know that was a lot, but that is all I have. Thank you all so much. If anyone has questions beyond this session, you can give us an email at sustainability@phila.gov. Be happy to help respond to whatever questions you might have. And again, our webpage with all of the information and resources that I mentioned is phila.gov/plastic-bag-ban. And I will drop both of those links in the chat now. But yeah, thanks so much, everyone. And with that, I will pass it back to Karen.
All right, thanks, Haley. And she's sticking around to answer your questions later. So, so we all know a law is not much good if it's not enforced. So just to talk through a little more details on the city's plan for continuing education and enforcement, I'd like to introduce Sarah Adamo from the Department of License and Inspections. Sarah.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Adamo. As Karen said, I am from the Department of Licenses and Inspections. I am the Legislative Affairs Manager and Zoning Administrator with L&I. L&I is the department within the city that's responsible for enforcing the plastic bag ban and a boatload of other requirements. So I'm going to walk through some of the key points regarding the enforcement of this legislation with you. Some of it's going to be a little repetitive. I'm going to highlight some of the key dates that Haley pointed out in her presentation, but these are really the key points that you need to understand when it comes to enforcement. So the first date that you need to know is July 31st, 2021. This is when all retail establishments are required to start posting signage at the point of sales, informing customers about the upcoming ban of plastic bags and non-recycled paper bags. Those are the signs that Haley showed on her presentation, and they're available on our website. So July 31st is the day that those need to be posted. After that, the next date that you need to be aware of is October 1st, 2021. This is when all single-use plastic bags and non-recycled paper bags are prohibited. As you already heard, in an effort to help educate the public and to work with retailers during this adjustment period, we're actually phasing this in with a 6-month education warning period. So October 1st through April 1st, 2022, if you're found to be in non-compliance with the law, all you will receive is a written warning. There won't be any fine, no violation, nothing like that associated with it, but you'll get a letter saying that we believe that you're non-compliant. We want to let you know that this is the current law. You want to make sure you're in compliance before April 1st, 2022, so that you don't get any fines from the city. So after April 1st, 2022 is when the real enforcement begins. If you're found to be out of compliance at that point, you will receive a violation from L&I, and it will carry a minimum penalty of $75 per occurrence. So each violation would be a separate fine. If you're found to be in violation day after day after day, you could receive a $75 fine each day. If a business is repeatedly or egregiously violating the ordinance, the city may take them to court and a judge may impose additional penalties. So we're hoping that, everybody is in compliance by April 1st, but if not, hopefully one or two of these $75 fines are all that we're going to have to issue. Hopefully, everybody knows what the rules are by that point, so we don't have to do any additional enforcement after that. That pretty much covers all of the enforcement aspect of this law, and I'm happy to answer any questions during the Q&A portion.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Okay, it's time for questions. I will read some of the questions in the chat and we'll get answers from this team. If you prefer to speak your question, please use the raise your hand feature and I will do my best to call on you. Okay, so I see, will this presentation be available? And yes, it is. It is currently up on the website. So it's on, and Haley dropped the link in. I always just type in phila.gov plastic and that's the easy way to find it, but then the website will come up and under resources, you can find the presentation that Haley provided today with all the details. Let's see, where can I find the definition of plastic bag? I assume that's sort of in there, but Haley, do you have a better, or is there a clear answer to that?
Yeah, you can find it on the webpage. There is a tab for FAQs. And if you click that, I think one of the first questions outlines the detailed requirements and the definitions there.
Okay, and follow up, what about bio-based bags that are home compostable and marine compostable certified?
Those are currently not permitted under the ban if they're created through blown film extrusion or less than 2.25 mils thick. So regardless of the fact that they're made from bio-based materials, those are not permitted.
Okay. So I'm talking off record here, but I'm assuming that's something that as technology changes and as things change, that's something we would be reconsidering with, going forward, right? To adjust if needed, if appropriate. Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's see. There was a question about what is the actual enforcement that will take place? Is it a fine? I think Sarah just covered that. So I'm hoping we're good there, but please raise your hand or speak up if you need to add on that. Oh, and I see, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's Miss Jones.
Yes, it's Kia.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Yep. And that was my question. And just to kind of expand on that, could you just give a little bit more information around what the enforcement process looks like? So will it be more like just random inspections? You just pop up and say, hey, we see you're not using the bags, or how will you kind of know when people are violating?
Sure. So we take this approach with a lot of different ordinances that L&I enforces. The majority of our inspections are complaint-based. So if we receive a complaint through 311 or through any other source, and we hear that an establishment is not in compliance, then one of our inspectors would visit and issue a violation if appropriate. There are some other ways that an inspector might enter your establishment if, say, if they're there for a different reason, for a, say they got a complaint about trash or a fire code violation. They may see that you're in violation of this ordinance as well. Or there could be like a commercial corridor sweep where they kind of do targeted enforcement in a certain area. But the vast majority of enforcement will be complaint-based.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Is there a minimum size for signage at point of sale? I believe that, or go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, so there's not a minimum size for the signage, but there are just certain pieces of information that have to be included. So the date the ban starts and the types of purchases and the types of bags that are affected. And the signs that we've created, I didn't mention this before, but we tried to make them as small as we could. So in those signs that you can download on our website, there are 2 per page. So it's like a half of an 8.5 by 11 inch letter size page for each sign. And I think certainly if you want to create signs yourself that are, fit better and are better suited for the space that you have at your business, that's fine, as long as it contains that detailed information. And those points of what need to be included are in the FAQ on our website as well.
And there was another question about sign. Do you anticipate additional signage requirements? I think the answer is no. I mean, there's a signage that you are required to put at the point of sale. We encourage you to start in educating customers as soon as possible, just to make the transition easier for everyone. I don't know if anyone, if the person who asked that or anyone else wants to speak, to add any more to that question. Okay, answered. Great. I don't see any other. Did I miss any questions in the chat, or does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
If you don't mind, I was just typing one up. So if I could just speak, sure, that'd be great. Thank you. I just wanted to ask a follow-up question on the bio-based bags. As I read through the information on the website, and it's great, great website. I see the bullet on here that says bags made from PLA or polylactic acid created through blown film extrusion process are banned. What about a non-PLA bio-based bag? We've been working with a bunch of different municipalities, and Baltimore, for example, allows these bags, and we've had great success so far. So I just wanted to follow up with that question.
Yeah, so even other bioplastics beyond PLA are currently not permitted under the ban, but like Karen said before, I think it's certainly something we'd be willing to consider, in the future as things change, if maybe we could set up a conversation about it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that.
Great.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, we all understand that, right? The goals we're working towards. So if there's new options for doing that, we want to be as flexible as possible. But right now, it is that blown film extrusion that sort of defines the banned bag. So, okay, I think I'm gonna do a going once, going twice. We will be back again next month, and we will. Oh, Kia, do you have your hand up again, or was that just left over?
No, I do. I'm sorry. I did.
Okay, it's all right. You got in there before the.
This is the last one real quick. I know you guys were saying that now the business owners have an option of passing the cost of a bag on to the customer. Is that because you're seeing, like with your list of vendors, that now these bags will incur more of a cost for the business owner? Are they more expensive than the plastic bags? And is that why we're kind of giving them the option to charge the customer?
Well, I think the basic thing is we didn't want this to be a burden on the businesses where they were going to have to pay a fee to the city. That was not the intent. So we are leaving it up to the businesses to determine how they want to operationalize this. They can buy these bags, which do tend to be a little more expensive, and they can give them away for free. They can charge the customers, or they can not offer bags and have customers, bring their own bags. The intention is to sort of ultimately change our consumers' behavior, which is happening. I think probably most of you are aware, this is fairly common. Many states and cities are implementing something similar to this. So the behavior changes will come. But I think we're just trying to give the businesses as much flexibility as possible. Anything to add on that, team? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, we really appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to come hear about this. Again, we will repeat this session in June. It's posted on Facebook, and we will be posting these sessions in other languages too. That's in the coming months. And we just, appreciate your time and ask you to help us spread the word. We don't want anyone, our main intent here is just to make sure everyone's educated and informed and ready for this. So thanks everyone. Have a great day.